All right, you asked for it, so here it is. Advanced navigation in Xamarin.Forms Shell to do a full login flow. So tune in. Hey everyone, welcome back to another Xamarin 101 video. I'm James Montemagno, and today I have a follow-up to my previous Xamarin.Forms 101 navigation with Xamarin.Forms Shell video, where I got a lot of questions about login flow. This is very, very common. You want to log into your application and then get to the content. Or you might be on a page, go to login, and then go to a different page, back and forth, back and forth. Now, I love Xamarin.Forms Shell navigation because it's URL-based. However, there are some complexities, like where does my page start? Where does my app start? How do I get to this different content? Well, it's actually really easy to do the login flow, and we're going to walk through that today and how to do registration. And this gets into a little bit more advanced shell navigation. So let's go ahead and take a look and get started. All right, now I want to give credit where credit is due here, because David Ortnow from the Xamarin and Donna Maui team gave a really cool overview of how to do all this navigation. He has all these really short, quick tips that are all just sort of really animated, really quick on how to do a bunch of stuff. And one of them is this shell navigation with login. So he goes through all of this back navigation to and from, back and forth. So definitely check that out. He does it with tab bars, and that's going to work a little bit different than flyout, but it's very, very similar. So we are going to go ahead and implement this, and I'm going to show it in detail. So here's what we're going to do is we're first going to take a look at what we have here in our coffee app, which we've been using in all the Xamarin 101 videos. The first thing is I have this login page, nothing really fancy here. I have a label, an entry, and a button, and this button says login, and then another label that says register over here, and it has a tap gesture recognizer. So you can tap on register, go to registration page, et cetera, et cetera. So if you look at the code behind, I haven't implemented anything. We're going to walk through this together and see how sort of special it is here to get this going. Now, I've also come into my coffee equipment page, which is the first page of the app, and I've added a toolbar item here. You can put this in the flyout as well, and it's a logout. And over here in the coffee equipment page, again, I haven't done anything yet. Done. You could also put this in the view model. You could put it anywhere. It doesn't matter where you put it. You just use shell navigation like we talked about in the previous 101 video. So definitely check that out too, like I said. All right, so finally, I have a registration page. It just says, let's register, and that's it. So here's what we're going to do is we're going to go into our app shell. We have a bunch of flyout items here. Now, you may also have a tab bar. And if you have a tab bar, it's going to actually be a little bit easier, and David walks through that, but the flow is basically exactly the same. What we're able to do here is we're able to put in a shell item, okay? Let me go up the navigation here. There we go, shell item. And I'm going to say route for this shell item is login page, just like we saw earlier. Now, I'm also going to say shell content, and then all we have to do is say content template, and then say data template of local login page. So nothing really special. Shell item is exactly the same, though I haven't specified a title or an icon or anything like that. Actually, it will get registered as a flyout item in here, but you may have multiple flyout items and more advanced shell, so you can just add a shell item in here. The one thing that we're going to do is we're actually going to say flyout item is visible false. So we're going to hide that from the flyout if the shell tries to add it automatically. So there we go. We have a login page, and that's it. It won't show up on it or anything like that. And this will be the now starting point of our application. So because the shell item is the first one, it will skip over displaying anything else in the page because it's the first one. Just like previously, the shell item had equipment as the default, and then it displayed all the flyout items. So here's what we want to do is we want to go to our login page, and up top, you can also do this in the code behind, we're going to come in and say shell.flyout behavior, and we're going to say disabled, okay? And that's really important because it's going to make sure that that flyout item it isn't available at all on this page. And in fact, on any of the pages that you don't want flyout, you want to put that. So on registration page, you may have saw I also had disabled on here too. So there you go. So we have flyout behavior disabled. Disable it for this page. So let's just go ahead and run it and see what this looks like with our flyout item being disabled. So there we go. We'll get it up and running here. And you also can add a bunch of other shell properties here too. So if you wanted to disable the navigation bar or you wanted to do other things, we can do that. So we can actually do this here in real time. So let's go ahead and see it. So our app launches, and since that shell item is there it is. If I try to swipe out or anything like that, it doesn't exist. I can't tap or do anything. I can also say shell dot what is it? Toolbar nav is visible false, and hit save, and then that'll go away. That's probably what you want it to look like there, right? Now, the problem that a lot of people have is that if we use our normal navigation where we say, go to async, go to the equipment page, it's going to push it onto the stack when we hit login. We don't want to do that, right? We want to actually go ahead and do something different, which is erase the back stack. So let's implement that. It's actually really, really simple, because if we go look at the documentation over here, we can see that there are these things called absolute and relative routes. This is actually really cool. So here, when you do an absolute route, which is these 2 slashes, it will automatically erase the back stack and reset it. So it sets it there to the default hierarchy. Now, there are a bunch of relative routes, which the default one is push it on the back stack with nothing there. You can use this downwards or upwards in the stack with triple and double stack in there. And it's a little bit more complex based on where you're trying to search in your stack. But really, the two that I end up using are this default and then double again. So this, again, looks right here, and this replaces the navigation stack. See, same with triple there too, but triple is a really much more advanced case than double in this instance. So we'll use double here, which is we'll search the route upwards from the current position and then replace the back stack. So what does that actually mean? Okay, what that means is that when I go over into my button click for login, I can say await shell.current, and then I can say go to async. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna say // which means absolute route, right here. And we are then going to say, let's go to our coffee equipment page. All right. And we're going to say name of course. There we go. That's what I actually need to do because it's a string. And that coffee equipment page is in our shell. So if we remember, this flyout here is our coffee equipment page. We've specified the route here of coffee equipment page, and it will be displayed. Now, it'll additionally, since it goes here and the flyout is re-enabled, it will re-enable it for us. But the most important part on this page is using this relative route, it will remove the backstack for us automatically. So the backstack will be gone. So if the user presses back, it'll just exit the application. Now, let's say we want to go to the registration page. Well, we can do a few things here. We can actually come in and say login page if we wanted to, and then say / and then another name of, and then registration page. That also is valid in this case. So we'll have an absolute route to say login page registration. This is really nifty if you're already further in the stack, right? You've already gone to another page. Maybe you're going through a tutorial and you want to make the login page always the previous page for registration. That's really cool. So it'll erase the backstack, go to login here. If you're already on login, it'll already be in your stack. So from this page, I wouldn't need to. I could just say, go to the registration page. But those are your two options there based on where you're at in your application. All right. Finally, what's nice about this is let's say we're on our coffee equipment page and we have that log out button right here, log out. Maybe you're on an about page or a settings page, you log out. Here's what we need to do. Simply come in and say, you guessed it, login page. Using that absolute route here, that's going to erase the backstack yet again. That's literally it. That's honestly all there is to it. It's a lot less complex than you'd think it would be because we're using these absolute routes in our navigation flow. So let's go ahead and start this up again, get our emulator going here. And again, we're going to now default come into our login page. And if I say register, notice I get the backstack. I can't swipe out anymore because on the registration page, I've disabled it. Okay. If I was to say fly out here, then it would actually give me the fly out. And we don't want that. Not at all. So we want to disable that because the flyout is still there, right? Now, of course, if you're using a tabbed page, you can ignore the flyout disable and disabled and re-enabled because you don't have one. Here's that. Now, as soon as I hit login, as soon as I do that, I'm right on that page. Look at that. And I have all my items in there and I'm good to go. If I say log out, I'm back over here. Log in, I'm back. If I hit the back button, the app is gone. All right. Then if I come back into the My Coffee app, then boom, I'm yet again good to go. So I can go in, go back and forth, back and forth. Now you might be saying, well, James, well, what if I'm already logged in? Great question. So there's a few ways of doing that. For example, what you could do is you could say, well, if I'm over here and I come and I'm, coming into this page and say override on appearing, I could do something like, hey, if logged in, so we'll just say true, right? Or we'll say var logged in was true. There we go. Then I could say async void, right? You'd probably have a setting here because you're logged in, et cetera, et cetera. You can come in here and you can say, oh, I'm logged in. Let's just go ahead and go to this coffee equipment page automatically. You could put this in your login page. You could put this in your app shell, into your app startup, wherever the page is starting to get shown. You can override that navigation stack. All right, now when we launch the application, we're going to see that it goes immediately to the coffee equipment page because we've told it to go here automatically, just like that, right? That's pretty cool. Now we can, of course, come in. If we log out, we're going to come here and we can log back in. Now this because it doesn't trigger on appearing in this case because it wasn't it's rerun. So now if I go log in, it would take me back to the page. Now this is actually really cool because this page might be a bunch of different buttons with sign in for Apple or Google, or all these different things. But you can easily create this flow. And now that it's sort of relative route wiped out the backstack, we can see that it would, obviously not allow me to go back. So we set this to false and then we'll continue on. It'll go back to the home page. So it's kind of that easy to get this login flow. You'd use a setting here, probably with Xamarin Essentials for your preferences if you're logged in. And that's really it, to be honest with you. I mean, once you get it set up and understand that the shell itself is very, very flexible, enabling you to enable the flyout, disable the flyout. If you're using bottom tabs, again, you don't need to enable or disable the flyout because it's always going to be disabled. So you would still use that shell item. Nothing would be different between this app, between enabling and disabling flyout, and that's it. So it's really, really cool. And you can use this relative and absolute route to do deep linking into your application or add pages in between. It'll kind of inflate the pages. So I'll definitely link to the documentation and to David's video and his YouTube too. So you want to see specifically with tabs, the differences between his app and this application. You can, of course, find this app on GitHub. I put the links into the show notes and every single one of the videos I've done in my Xamarin 101 series. But I hope that you found this video very, very informative. If you have any questions at all, please leave them in the comments below. And with that, don't forget to do the things that I always tell you to do, which is like this. So it goes into the Google algorithm of goodness on YouTube and recommends it to other people. And of course, subscribe and ding that notification bell so you can stay up to date with the latest and greatest videos that I'm doing right here on my YouTube channel. Thanks everyone for tuning in and have a good one.